fans, it's Tim here from Mario Mayhem, and today we are going to be exploring a hidden gem of the retro gaming world. Not many people actually know this, but McDonald's released an NES video game way back in February of 1992. It was published by Virgin Games in North America, and then again in 1993 by Ocean Software for the European market. It was an officially licensed product for McDonald's, and follows the story of two children, Mac and Mick, who must head forth into the imaginary world of McDonaldland in order to return Ronald McDonald's magical bag, which has been stolen by the Hamburglar. And yikes, what a thin storyline. But hey, we are dealing with McDonald's and the early 1990s here. Despite being a fast food related game, the release actually received pretty good reviews, with GamePro giving it a solid 4.6 out of 5, and Nintendo Power scored it twice, as 3.3 out of 5 for the challenge, theme and fun, 3.4 out of 5 for play control, and 2.9 out of 5 for graphics and sound, which is not too shabby for a game about a magical bag owned by a clown mascot. Ports of the game were also made for the Commodore 64, the Amiga, Atari ST, MS-DOS, and even a Game Boy game simply called McDonaldland. But today we are going to focus on the NES version and check out the handful of Game Genie cheat codes for this crazy piece of fast food nostalgia that do exist. And we may even see our old friend Mario along the way too. So with that intro out of the way, let's get this rolling with the few Game Genie codes that do exist for this odd McDonald's themed adventure. On with the show. The first code we are going to look at is the 3-line giant OZXEGOSX plus GLXEIPEK plus XTXETPGE. And this code is actually pretty epic, at least for a McDonald's based game. With this in place you can jump in mid-air, or rather just keep jumping. It even works on the intro screen of the game when you select if you want to play 1 or 2 players. This lets you explore more places in each level that I honestly have no idea how you would normally get to without this code. Since the levels are so short though, you can usually smash A few times and before you know it, you are giving your mate a high five and the level is over. But it's still a pretty fun code to start off with. Up next we will take a look at 2 of the default Galoob codes for this game that can be helpful if you are actually serious about playing it. The first code is GXKSUOSE, which gives you infinite lives, which is pretty handy even though it is pretty hard to die in this game. The second code is EGETYTIA, which gives you a nifty infinite hearts, making you essentially invincible. Those snails and beavers or whatever won't know what hit them, as you can just cruise through enemies like Grimace himself is chasing you. I do love this animation when you get hit though. I love how this wholesome kid just throws up his arms in surrender when you hit a snail or whatever the heck this flower type thing is. It's like the ultimate sign of defeat or something. There are also a few other lives related codes that give you anywhere from 2 to 10 lives at the start of the game, but there isn't a whole heap to say about them when you already have infinite lives. If you enter in the Game Genie code AEXALGPA, suddenly you will be able to select any level on the world map without having to actually pass the previous levels. This means you can cruise around the current map and play whichever level you like, to speedrun this beast if you so choose to do so. But to be honest, most of the levels, at least at the start of the game, are so short that this is kinda useless, unless you have a personal favourite. The game also has a kinda Sonic feel to it, in the sense that when you get hit by enemies you lose your golden arches that you have collected throughout the level. But if you use the Game Genie code EKNVYIIA, then whenever you do hit an enemy, you don't actually lose your collection. This helps you move through the plot a little bit faster, as well as apparently use more power-ups, but I didn't find out what they were. When you do get hit, you still see your archers fly out, but your counter stays the same. This doesn't seem that helpful, but hey, everyone loves collectibles, I guess. Up next we actually have an entirely separate hack of this game called MC Mario. That's right, Someone actually took the time to reskin this game using Super Mario as the sprite from Super Mario Bros. 3. This is pretty hilarious in both premise and execution, as you see a full-on Mario and Ronald McDonald interaction played out in 8-bit glory. Even player 2 or your mate that you high-five at the end of the levels is replaced with this weird blue version of Mario. The game seems pretty much untouched other than the sprite swap and the lack of the Virgin logo on the plane at the start of the game, so I wouldn't be surprised if there are at least a few people still out there that thought this might have been an actual Super Mario game. According to Wikipedia, in 2003, Greg Tavares, the programmer of the original MC Kids game, made a blog post acknowledging MC Mario. In the post he states that while he found the hack interesting, he was disappointed to see that his work was being ripped off. But hey, they do say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so maybe old mate Greg should be pretty happy that someone ripped off his game. Anyway, moving back to the official game, the last code we will take a look at is AEKYKZPA, and it is actually the coolest one we'll see. Using this, you can simply re-enter the starting building, and it will act as if you have just collected all of the cards needed to move on to the next level. This is pretty wacky, especially the character designs like Birdie. I don't know what happened here. And apparently Grimace now owns a loft, which is pretty cool for him. And then before you know it, you are blasted off in a rocket to the moon, and then back to Earth, and then you have to battle in some kind of weird volcano lair of the Hamburglar. This game is really strange, even for an NES title. Anyway, that's it for today my friends. I hope you enjoyed hacking MC Kids on the NES with me. If you did, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you are new to the channel, ring the bell, make a comment, and why not check out some of these other videos on the screen now. Keep that mayhem train running my friends. And with all that said, I'll catch you in the next one my friends.